Nairobi is perfect, a bit, but we are okay.
Yeah, and the line is stable. That's most important.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes, yes, that's true.
And is there not another David on the line?
So Christian, where are you based?
I'm based in Germany, roughly an hour south of Berlin, so a town called Bitterfeld, and this is
Okay.
an industrial complex over here, and I'm involved in feed additive production, and so this is where the headquarters of the company is. So I'm no longer with the university
Okay.
sectors, but as I discussed with Micek already, yeah, well, I did my PhD in Hohenheim, where he is currently located. Yeah.
Good. So
Okay.
I've just had a message that we are now getting live.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and it's 8:30 in the morning from Germany. And this session is supposed to be 8:30 to 9:15. And we have a total of 8 posters. So welcome everybody from wherever you are this morning or evening or day, depending on the location you are in. My name is Mr. Chagunda. I'm professor of animal breeding and husbandry at the University of Hohenheim. So animal breeding and husbandry in the tropics and subtropics, to be specific. And I'll be chairman of this session. And I'm really, really looking forward to this poster session because from the titles and the abstracts, I think there is quite a lot of information and learning that we can share. Since we only have 45 minutes, I would really like the presenters to keep to time so that we can have some time for discussion as well. There are questions that are coming from the online platform that is being used. Once I get those questions, I'll read them and then the presenter can respond. So without much ado, the first poster this morning is from Rosemary Ingwe, or Inge. Is Rosemary around? Okay. That's the beauty of online communication. Sometimes you think people are there and they are not there. We will then move on to Christian. Christian, your poster was the second in line. Now it gets the first spot.
It gets the first one now. Okay.
I will leave that to you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
the floor is yours.
I think anyone had the access to the poster. It deals with dietary sodium diphosphate in broilers. Sodium diphosphate is a formic acid salt complex which can be used in animal feed in order to improve digestibility and in order to have antimicrobial impacts. The substance has been used over the last 10 years already in worldwide poultry production, but the most of the papers, they were looking into performance enhancements only. So we checked body weight gain, feed efficiency, European broiler index, etc. But those studies placed less emphasis on what actually happens inside the bird. So they were rather looking at a black box. So this time we assessed the impact on the GI tract, measured as pH levels in different locations of the GI tract, as well as digestibility parameters. This trial was done in cooperation with a couple of partners in Iran over a 42-day trial period. And we had been running a negative control, a positive control, which still contained antibiotic growth promoters, and then the substance at 0.1%, so 1 kilogram a ton. And on the poster, you would be able to see two tables. One table addresses, again, for sure, the performance parameters of the birds, measured as body weight gain or average daily gain, as well as feed efficiency. Whereas on the second table, we really looked into the impact on the GI tract as measured as the pH in the gizzard and ileum, as well as the ileal apparent digestibility parameters in those in the ileum. And yes, we were again able to figure out that the growth of the birds when feeding on 0.1% sodium diphosphate was significantly increased, measured as body weight gain or average daily gain. And we had a numerical improvement on the feed efficiency from 1.87 down to 1.778, which for sure affected the European broiler index as displayed in the last line of that table. And we could show that these performance enhancements is due to an optimized pH in the gizzard and ileum, because lower pH levels in those places will enable the enzyme pepsin, for instance, which has a pH optima between 1.5 and 3.5, to act better and therefore enhance the protein digestibility. And this could be measured with the ileal apparent digestibility, where especially the protein digestibility had been significantly enhanced, coming from the negative control to the positive control. And at the same time, it has been known in the past that lower pH levels throughout the gastric intestinal tract has a beneficial impact on breaking mineral complexes so that they make them easier digestible. And again, this has been checked in this study here for calcium and phosphorus, both essential minerals for proper growth of the birds. So we can all in all say, yes, we are able to improve performance, and now we shed a bit more light on why the performance is increased because of better digestibility parameters and an optimized pH condition in the gut. And this can be achieved without the use of antibiotics. So it's really a sustainable way forward to improve poultry production. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much. I'll bring to you the first question. How affordable are these additives to normal farmers, rural farmers?
As we're using those additives, and not only the acid additives, literally already in worldwide poultry production, those are not only additives which are used, let's say, in the developed world, but we as a company have customers in Asia, we have customers in Africa, so they are affordable. If you compare them to antibiotics, they for sure are more expensive. But since more and more customers demand the use of or the non-use of antibiotics in poultry production in order to eat meat which is not coming from antibiotic productions, more and more farmers are shifting, and those acid products or enzyme products are literally used worldwide in poultry production. Thus, they are affordable and they are used.
Okay, a follow-up question to that is, from the consumer's point of view, what's the perception of the consumer about the additives?
Additives in general are perceived as, well, they have a ambivalent view on it. People think that some of the additives are certainly have a bad perception, but if you're looking at the market development, especially for sustainable and considered green products, and organic acids fall into that part, because they are produced from enzymatic reactions, or they can be coming from natural processes, like organic acids are present in fruits like citric acid, formic acid coming from ants, etc. So there is a natural source of those. The perception of those is more on the positive side, because they are seen as alternatives for antibiotics.
Okay. That's really interesting in this sustainable when the debate about sustainability is really
exactly, yes.
yeah.
And that's why we see currently the growth of those sustainable additives in several parts of Southeast Asia, like Indonesia or Vietnam. They just banned the use of antibiotic growth promoters within the last couple of years. And you can really see that products like enzymes or product groups like probiotics, enzymes, and organic acids are really on the rise since that time.
All right. Good. I don't see any other questions on the platform. So I will really take this opportunity to thank you very much for that presentation. And please keep checking the platform. There could be other questions coming in later, which you should respond to. But for now, thank you very much.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure everywhere where people are, they are giving you an applause. So take that. Our next poster is going to be presented by Ruth Ofongo. And I will not try to preempt your poster, Ruth. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. We can hear you. Please go ahead. No, now you are muted. No, now we cannot hear you. You greeted us, we heard that, but after that, we never heard anything else.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Ruth Ofongo. I am the head of the Poultry Nutrition and Animal Biotechnology Research Unit, Department of Animal Science, Niger Delta University. This morning I'll be presenting a poster work that was carried out by my research group, and it's titled Neutrophil and Lymphocyte Counts in Broilers Administered Vernonia amygdalina Extract as a Natural Growth Promoter. Phytogenics are plant extracts which can be used as feed additives. They are obtained from medicinal plants and spices and can be suitable alternatives to antibiotics which are administered to poultry birds on the basis of the following reasons. Antibiotics are either given to prevent disease, for the purpose of disease control, for disease treatment, or as growth promoters. And when used as growth promoters, antibiotics are administered to healthy animals to make them grow faster or utilize their feed more efficiently. In vivo effects of phytogenics in poultry production includes improvement in growth performance, antibacterial activity, antioxidant activity, and immune response modulatory effect. This study was designed to determine the effect of aqueous Vernonia amygdalina extract on neutrophil and lymphocyte counts when administered to broiler chickens orally as a natural growth promoter. Materials and methods. The leaves of Vernonia amygdalina were separated from the stalk, then washed in clean water to remove dirt. The leaves were chopped finely to enable milling in an electric blender. 1,000 grams of the finely chopped leaves were weighed and milled with 750 cl of clean water. The aqueous extract of Vernonia amygdalina was obtained by filtering through a cheesecloth. A total of 150 and a 2,000-day-old broiler chicks were randomly distributed to 3 treatments having 5 replicates and 10 birds per replicate. The experiment was arranged as a complete randomized design and lasted 28 days. Birds in treatment 1 served as the control group and were not administered antibiotics or aqueous Vernonia amygdalina extract. Birds in treatment 2 were administered antibiotics for 5 days according to the manufacturer's recommendation. Each bird in treatment 3 were administered 1 meal of freshly prepared aqueous Vernonia amygdalina extract on day 7, 14, and 21. On day 28, blood was collected from 4 birds per replicate into sample bottles containing lithium heparin. Appropriate hematological analysis was carried out to determine neutrophil and lymphocyte counts. Data collected were subjected to ANOVA and significant means separated at 5% level of probability. Administration of 1 meal per bird of aqueous Vernonia amygdalina significantly affected neutrophil and lymphocyte counts, according to figure 2. Neutrophil counts were significantly higher in birds administered Vernonia amygdalina. Lymphocyte counts were significantly lower in birds administered aqueous Vernonia amygdalina compared to the control group. Lymphocyte counts in the antibiotic treatment was not significantly different from administration of aqueous Vernonia amygdalina. Conclusion: aqueous Vernonia amygdalina positively impacted neutrophil and lymphocyte counts in broiler chickens as a natural growth promoter. Thank you for your time and patience. The authors would gratefully like to acknowledge the following: Mr. Goodluck Ezeoye and Mr. Wills Robert for assisting with the animal experiments. Make our food our medicine.
Sorry. Thank you very much for that presentation. Again, I cannot see any questions coming on the platform yet. I guess it's still a bit early for a lot of people. But I have a question. In the area presentation, we heard about the microbiota. I'm wondering whether there would be any effect on the microbiota coming from the ingredients that you used. Ruth? Okay, we seem to not have very good connection there. I think then we should move on. Is Yusuf Tokuru around? Yusuf Tokuru. No? Okay, if Yusuf is not around, then we'll move on to David. David Aeko.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Okay,
The floor is
so
yours.
hello, I hope you are hearing me.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, so good. So my post on the impact that collective marketing of local breeds have on smallholder farmers. So just a brief background is that my study was done in Kenya, specifically in Kenya. And in this area, poultry production forms a significant part of livelihood of smallholder farmers. So previously, marketing of poultry has been done by individual households, but data has shown that not much income has been gotten when the household market the poultry individually. So our main objective was to look at the effect of organizing the household to marketing groups and asking ourselves, is there any impact of this kind of arrangement on their livelihood as a whole. So we had two objectives. One was ask ourselves, what are the factors that lead this household to participate in this kind of arrangement that is called collective marketing? And then secondly, we're asking ourselves, what is the effect of this kind of arrangement on household income, specifically their farm incomes? So from our results, we find that the factors that have a significant effect on participation in this kind of arrangement are the group size, the source labor that was used in production of poultry at the household, the type of market channel that the household used, the frequency of the contact with extension workers, the location of the household, that is, there were two locations. One was called K, the other one was called Kaiti. And then the level of education of the household health, and also the frequency of meetings in these groups. And then the other factors that also had significant effects were the distance of the household from the markets and the distance of the house from the main road. So result shows that the particular effect of this kind of arrangement is that if you compare individuals who are participants in this kind of arrangement to those who are not participating in this kind of arrangement, you found that on average, the incomes of those participating in kind of arrangement increased by around 2,105 Kenya shillings, which would be about $21 a month. So based on this, our recommendations at this kind of arrangement should be promoted through extension practices, and there should be a focus on improving infrastructures in these areas. And then this kind of arrangement previously was based on looking at group similarities, and we find that it should also be incorporated into a participatory approach. And finally, we find that there's clear evidence that if this kind of arrangement is promoted at local level, then incomes are able to improve at household levels. Thank you. So those are the findings that we had, and I'd like to appreciate Kenyatta University, Nairobi University, and the Ministry of Agriculture for supporting this study. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David.
Yes.
I've just been told that the videos from Yusuf and Rosemary are actually ready. So in the interest of time, what we'll do now is have those two videos play. We'll take all the questions at the end. So now we could have, could we please have the video from Rosemary? And after that, we have the video from Yusuf, please.
The organizers of this program, fellow participants, the editors. My name is Rosemary Ozomigwe. I welcome all of us to this year's conference. I and my co-authors looked at the effect of melatonin and lighting regime on the physiological status and reproductive traits of layers. This research work was carried out at Ebonyi State University, Abakaliki, Nigeria. High environmental temperature is one of the challenges facing livestock farmers in tropical areas. This high environmental temperature have resulted to loss of production, which also led to high cost of animal protein, which is not within the reach or the rich of low-income earners within this region. In this research work include melatonin and lighting. The melatonin was used in 3 levels and lighting was also used in 3 levels. Melatonin was used at 0 level, 0 milligram, 5 milligram, and 10 milligram, while lighting was used at 12 hours, 15 hours, and 18 hours respectively. Melatonin is a hormone that is being secreted by the pineal gland, which is capable of regulating growth and reproductive activities of birds. Its application in female promotes ovulation and maturation of oocytes. Lighting, on the other hand, promotes egg laying but suppresses the production of this melatonin in the pineal gland. A total of 324 laying birds were used for this research work, as it was divided into 2, 162 in Nera Black for experiment 1 and another 162 Issa Brown for experiment 2. The result in table 1 is the effect of the melatonin on Nera Black, while table 2 is the effect of the melatonin on Issa Brown. The result indicates that the physiological parameters, the rate of temperature, respiratory rate, and the heart rate, were improved by the administration of melatonin in both experiments. The effect of the lighting and performance evaluation is also presented in table 3, while the effect of melatonin on performance evaluation of Issa Brown was presented in table 4. The result shows that melatonin and lighting improved the production parameters like the final body weight, egg weight, ovary weight, hen egg production, feed conversion ratio, mortality, and reduced mortality by melatonin in Issa Brown. While lighting, on the other hand, though improved some of the production parameters, but led to high feed conversion ratio and mortality rate, which contributed to losses in production. Therefore, be concluded that the physiological parameters of the two strains were improved by the administration of melatonin and lighting. Increased lighting had a deleterious effect on the physiological status of the two strains, especially those within 18 hours of lighting, while melatonin at all levels enhanced the performance characteristics of the two strains of the laying bed. Thanks for listening. Looking forward for your questions.
Thank you very much. Could we then have the video from Yusuf, please? Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to present to you the content of our poster on this occasion of the International Scientific Conference Tropentag edition 2020. Our poster is titled Feed Restriction Based on Cassava Flour and the Composition of the Characters of Broilers. You know, ladies and gentlemen, in Benin, traditional small chicken farmers face a dilemma. By wanting to improve the carcass yield of their chickens, they introduce genetically efficient strains. The problem is that these farmers do not have enough corn, which is both the staple food of the populations and the main ingredient for the production of feed for chickens. But at the same time, we note a satisfactory availability of cassava among the agro-pastoralists. The question we have to ask ourselves is whether it is possible to partially and periodically replace maize with cassava flour in the feed of broilers without affecting the yield and composition of their carcass. The study we carried out at the Faculty of Agronomy of the University of Parakou in Benin clearly showed that if replaced over a period of 3 weeks 10% of maize by cassava flour in the ration of broilers while limiting the energy and protein concentration to 85%, we do not record any significant difference with the control subjects fed normally without cassava flour. The difference becomes very significant if 30% of the corn is replaced by cassava flour in a ration whose energy and protein concentration is limited to 70%. It should be noted, ladies and gentlemen, that once feed and nutritional standards have been restored, there is a spectacular increase in the carcass yield of chickens previously subjected to feed restriction based on cassava flour, and more particularly in the most destitute. However, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that 4 weeks of refeeding was not enough to the most destitute chickens to fully compensate for the weight growth retardation experienced during deprivation. This could have been the case if this period was extended. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we can say that the partial and periodic use of cassava flour instead of maize in the feed of broilers constitutes a credible alternative for poor households raising chickens without not enough maize but enough cassava. Substituting 10% maize with cassava flour should not pose any problem with regard to the carcass composition of broiler. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much for that, for those videos. And let me just check on some of the messages coming in. We were supposed to have a presentation from Esther. Esther Okupaku. I don't seem to see her online, and we didn't receive anything from her. So let's move on. Do we have Ibikumile Olaleru online? Was that
Ibikunle Olaleru? Ibikunle Olaleru.
You make it so easy. It's a complicated name, but you make it so easy. Now the floor is yours. Is Olaleru around? No?
I don't think he's there.
Do we have a video from her? All right, let's play Esther's video then.
Good day. Good day. I am Opapo Esther. I'll be presenting this section, poster presentation on assessment of rabbit production value chain in Southwest Nigeria. The essence of the study was to shed more light into the existing rabbit value chain in the study area. During the course of the study, both primary and secondary data were used with both interview schedules and structured questionnaires. From the results, as observed in Figure 1 above, it is observed that about 52% of the farmers employ the use of veterinary service in their venture, while 48% do not. For feeds used, it is observed that farmers use various types of feed, which range from kitchen waste to forages, and they use it either solely or in combination. Figure 2 shows the use of concentrate as feed for rabbits by respondents. From this result, it is observed that 56%, 68%, 63%, and 93% of the visited farmers use concentrates, kitchen waste, and forages respectively to feed their rabbits. 81% of the farmers that use concentrate serve to their rabbits poultry feed as rabbit feed, while 26% offer rabbit feed. Either they have formulated it themselves or they have bought the commercially made rabbit feed. Hence, it can be said that there's a level of scarcity of commercial rabbit feed in the study area. The common use of poultry feed is likened to the fact that the commercial poultry feed are more available than the commercial rabbit feed. Figure 3 shows the rabbit production distribution channel among rabbit respondents in the study area. From those results, we observe that majority of the farmers sell directly to consumers, hence reducing the likely effect of middlemen who often take control of the prices of commodities. With the low presence of middlemen could be likened to the number of rabbit farmers observed in the study area, which was far less compared to those of poultry or pig farmers. Now, from the study, it was concluded that there is need to encourage investors in livestock feed production to consider investing into rabbit feed production. This could help reduce the use of poultry feed as rabbit feed. There is also the need to carry out more study with respect of tropical forage production, preservation for feeding rabbits, especially in dry season. This will discourage farmers who often close down their venture during the dry season as a result of scarcity of forage, to discourage them from doing so. And this could also help the rabbit industry to grow better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Esther on that presentation as well, which took us from poultry to rabbits, and looking at why and how they shouldn't really be competing for the same feed, but people should consider having specific feed for rabbits.
Good idea.
The last poster was supposed to again to be presented by Orareru, who was the other presentation. So I'm wondering whether Orareru is around or not, or did we get any video from them? So we had no video. in that case, we now have a relatively good time for questions. I think we've really caught up with the schedule in that sense. So I welcome questions from members of the audience and also even the presenters who are here. There's a question on rabbits. Rabbits often get bloated with high level of forages. How do farmers mitigate these effects? Rosemary, are you around? I can see.
I'm around. I'm the one that asked the
You
question.
are the one who asked the question.
In my rabbit farm, each time we feed high level of concentrate, we notice that the rabbits, most of them get bloated. And sometimes we use the local method, either we use oil or whatever, just to try to reduce that. So because of that, fear of this bloat, which at times results to death, may cause sometimes resort the use of concentrates. So I really want Esther to throw more light from the survey. It seems as if so many farmers use these forages. So I would want her to throw more light how they mitigate this effect, if she was able to get answers from the farmers.
Esther seems not to be online, in which case I hope she may respond to your question online. But I think that's a very valid point in terms of what are the mitigation factors to this problem. Anybody on the panel or any one of the presenters, because we had quite a few feed experts this morning, any comments on that? What's your experience? Any knowledge about that?
I have limited knowledge on that. I've not worked with.
Bring it on.
Okay, but I know that using oil works. And then if you observe, it's best to feed the rabbits with young forage, not forage that is mature forage. When you feed mature forage, I think that would be a factor when you consider bloating. So fresh forage might be good.
Okay. Has that been subjected to any scientific testing, or that's indigenous knowledge?
And then observation from practicals that have taken place on the farm.
Okay, I think that's a good observation on the farm. Maybe it's an area which, just like we heard from Esther's presentation, saying encouraging people to start making rabbit forage, rabbit feed, maybe actually it's also an area for good research in that sense, so that we are not creating a solution at the same time creating another problem, because I think this bloating problem is a real big problem. And if you start thinking about it from an animal welfare point of view, we don't know how much pain those animals are in which case it may indeed be an animal welfare issue. I can see Esther is now online. Would you want to comment on this issue of bloating, and if farmers you interviewed gave you any solution? Now, Esther, we don't seem to hear you. You're unmuted, I can see, but every time you speak, we don't hear anything. Okay, maybe what I will do is encourage Esther to send to respond your email on the platform, so that to respond to your question on the platform, so that at least there is information coming from there. Any other questions from anybody else?
Good morning.
Oh, yes. We only have 1 minute now to go. So Esther, go for it. There was a question on blotting. Did any of the farmers tell you any solutions to the problem of blotting?
Good morning.
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
But I didn't get the question.
The question is, rabbits always get bloated on high level of forage. How do farmers mitigate this effect?
Okay, thank you. From most of the time, the forage that give the rabbits, based on the interaction with the farmers, the forage that gives the rabbits bloat are those that were not, the moisture content is high. So what most of them do is that when they harvest the forage for consumption, they often allow it to wilt. They often allow it to wilt before offering to the rabbits. While others reported that when they have cases of bloat, they try to do the traditional thing. According to them, they give the rabbits palm oil. It's kind of funny to me. It was kind of funny to me. They give the rabbits palm oil, believing it will help to ease out the gas. But I tried during our interaction, we tried to encourage them to consider inviting their veterinarian in such situation. But the best bet was to offer the rabbits wheeled forages, not just fresh from the field. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That gives us some more insights into this
Thank
problem.
you.
And like I said earlier on, from your recommendations, you seem to actually be saying there's need to promote making rabbit feed, but we are extending that to say actually there might also be need for more research in this area in order to come up with some scientifically robust mitigation strategies for these kind of problems. At this point, let me take this opportunity to thank all the presenters this morning and thank all the participants as well. Very intriguing posters. Thank you very much for your contributions. I encourage everybody to still send questions on the platform, and I encourage all the presenters to check on the platform and also respond to the questions that have been directed to them. At this point, thank you very much, and see you in the next session. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.